Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday at Two Lines. I'm actually on time this week. 8 o'clock on the nose. No board meeting this week. Just had dinner with my kids. Had some barbecue. So it was good times. They start trickling back to their regular scheduled life over the next day or two. And so, hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. Hope you enjoyed your holiday. Now, some of us are back to work. Some of you might have the rest of this week off. I was off most of last week, which was really nice, but I'm back to work today. And it's good to be back in the groove of things. So, no problems. Having too much time off is not, probably not good for me. So hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Hopefully Santa Claus was really good to you. And, you didn't, you were not on the naughty list, and you were able to get some of those favorite slot car items off of your list. Thanks to my brother. One of the things on my list, which was honestly a joke, most of you figured that out, my grown-up Christmas list with all my slot car stuff that have been eyeing. That list changes from day to day, but my brother came through strong and got me the Jägermeister NSR C7R Corvette. I mean, come on. That is one good-looking car. And I will tell you that I've got to do some more tuning to it, but I just did kind of like the basic stuff, and it's pretty quick. 25K Shark motor. It's pretty quick. So, yeah. Very cool car. Thank you, Dusty. All Dusty got was a lousy Two Lines t-shirt. And a new network for his DeFalco. And we both are going to try out the two-finger, you can see it here, the two-finger trigger for the DeFalco. So I may take the controller apart tonight to make that happen. So do any of you use the two-finger trigger on the DeFalco? Do you like that? How does it feel in your hands? I don't know. So, and then we'll see where the chat wants to go tonight. So let me do a quick search through. Gene is in the house. Welcome, Gene. Good to have you. Rob Sale. Okay, why is that small? Yeah. So Gene, Rob Sale, Chris Fretter, Scott, Conquest. Hey, Raul. Merry Christmas, man. Hopefully you're doing well. Good to have you. John Albright, Jeff G, Eric Tucker. Guys, I'm hoping Eric's one of them. I just was looking through my T-shirt list, and I hope that I have the T-shirts here in the next day or so. And so a few of you have not received yours yet. It's because they didn't ship me your size. So there's about 4 or 5 of you that have T-shirts coming that hopefully I'll get to tomorrow in the mail, and then I'll turn those right around and ship them out to you. So I apologize for that, but they shorted me my 2X and my 3X shirts. So, and about 6 of my XL shirts. So it was easy mistake to make, but we'll get them back. The 12 Days of Slopmas. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that. Let's see. Well, who else we have? Jeff G. Pistol Pete. Thanks for the C5 Vet. Runs great. Got rid of firm urethane tires, treated stock tires. Very good. So I think, Pistol Pete, the tire conversation, there's a couple different compounds of the urethane. One is really for grip. The other, this is just like a 30,000 foot definition. The other is a little firmer, probably has a little less grip, but probably wears a lot longer. And so that might be what you were dealing with, was just a firm compound. There's some softer compounds out there that probably would have given you a little more grip. But treating your rubber tires is probably a good move. John Albright knows what he's talking about when it comes to tires. And yeah, so it's all good. John Tucci is in the house. Eric, I'm catching up with some of the chats. Yeah, you guys, the magic of editing. Sorry, there's tiny little ball bearings everywhere. And I'm trying to decide what that is. They're all over. They may be something off the top of a Christmas cookie. My nieces and nephews were at the track on Christmas. We met, all of my wife's family met here on Saturday, and they were here most of the day. And about 3 hours in, I hear some noise and come downstairs to find my nephews and nieces playing on the slot car track. So I switched the track over to digital, lined them up with some digital cars, and they went to town and had a blast. But I'm finding lots of things that they played with. They like to play with the soundboard as well and talk into the microphone because they can put the headphones on and hear themselves. And so they're littles, and they had a blast. So crashing cars. I did lots of marshalling, but it was all fun. So yeah, they were good times. So if Asa and Asher, if you're watching, I hope you guys had fun on the slot car track. We'll have you and your dad come over some night, and you guys can do some real racing. It's funny. They always want to race like my best cars. Visually, they can spot some of my best cars right off the bat. And I'd only have maybe 5 or 6 digital cars. And so that's what I was running digital, so I could get as many of them on the track as possible. A little easier to marshal when you can just throw the car in any lane, right? And they wanted to run my Thunder slots and my NSRs and my everything that was not digital. But they had a blast. So I'm here for it. So I'll skip through. Dave is in the house. Slot R, thanks for joining. Let's see who else. Cyberg is here. Hey, Cyberg. Hey, Jeremy. Welcome. Happy Slotmas. Yeah, so Bobcat tires, they're made here in Ohio, up near Akron, I think. The guy who owns Bobcat is friends with Joseph, and Joseph turned me on to him, but he makes urethanes, I think. And since we do silicones, I haven't bought anything from him. But I think those guys, we tried to put something on the calendar, and it's my fault. I'm horrible at this. Put something on the calendar for those guys to come down and race on the track. I've been trying to figure out a day that that Greg can make it up as well. So my schedule just it's kind of insane. You can ask Dusty. He'll tell you. But I'm too busy. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. The bloopers were pretty, they were real. My frustration was real. Oh, gosh. Oh, man. So if I miss somebody, hey, Daryl, Pistol Pete, Jeff G, what's going on? Hey, Boone, welcome. Yep, good to have you. Hey, Harry. And they're in Latvia. Welcome. You're up late again. Man, I appreciate that. Hi, Gina. Good to have you. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. Slot Journal is in the house. Hey, Danny. My brother is here. Hey, Steve. Let's see here. Hey, Rob. But yeah, guys, here's Greg. Greg, shout out to Greg. Greg sent me a Lionel transformer, and now with one flip of the switch, I can adjust how bright all of my lights are. And Greg, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You're the man. Let's see. Who else do we have? If I miss somebody, hey, Donald. I apologize. Hey, Greg. You're going to like the two-finger trigger. It will not feel great once you do it, but when you did your track, but it's great once you get used to it. Okay. Yeah, I've had a couple people tell me to give it a shot and give it a little bit of time. But I tend to notice that when I get tired, like in the long heats of the endurance race, the two-finger would have saved me because I could have reached down. So I would move my middle finger up onto the trigger where I had less control because it was up so high. But like that's when I started having like numb fingers, that's what I would do to just have some kind of feel in the trigger. So I'm hoping that it helps me in those long heats. So that's what I'm going for. Marty, so can you run a 132nd on a 124 track? Some people were telling me to buy a 124 track to get the shoulders. So Marty, the track is the same. The starter sets that are 124 versus 132nd usually come with borders on the turns, outside borders. Maybe they come with inside borders too. Now that I'd have to go look at a set. But it's the 132nd and 124. It's the same track. You just in the 124 starter sets, you get borders. In the 132nd, they do not include borders. So that's really the only difference. And other than the fact that you would get a couple of 124 scale cars instead of 132nd scale cars. But Marty, that's the only difference. Everything's the same. The power supply would be different. If you got the 124 scale, you would have a little too much power when you try to run 132nd scale cars. You would be flying around the track at 18 plus, a little bit over 18 volts. So you would probably want either an adjustable power supply or get both the 132nd scale supply from Carrera or the 124, depending on which set you ended up with. So, so hope that really helps. Hello, hey Slot Car League, welcome. Chris, no worries. The T-shirts will arrive when they arrive. Yeah, Chris, you're close. So I would say if they show up tomorrow, you'll have yours by Friday. That'd be my guess. The two-finger trigger does a couple of things. First of which adds comfort. Dusty, did you find that fox? So Dusty had shot a fox, and when we picked him up, he was running across the field to go when we went racing, and he was all out of breath. He couldn't find it. So hopefully you found it, man. Hey, Mike, Merry Christmas to you. All is well. Thanks for jumping in and joining. Good to have you. Hopefully everything was good in Michigan. I don't know if do you guys do a holiday race up there? Hopefully your club there at the shop or at your house, I guess. You've got two different tracks you can choose from. Hopefully you guys got a little chance to put some holiday racing in. We raced, just to tell a little bit about last week, I released that video about Cincy Slots and racing at Bruce's on Thursday night. And for the last couple of weeks, we've had some really good crowds. Well, last week we had 22 racing, and my son-in-law, Kellen, went with us. And it was the first time he had ever raced outside of just running laps here on this track. And it was the first time he'd ever driven a car with no magnets. And so I was proud of him. He struggled like any of us would the first time you're driving a car with no magnets. And so we won't talk about what place he finished, but he had a blast to the point where he's trying to figure out if they can stick around long enough, he and my daughter, to go racing again on Thursday. So he wants to go back on Thursday night. So I may have to move my schedule around just so that I can make sure that he gets to race one more time. So, yeah, Mike, I hope you guys had a great Christmas too. Thanks. I appreciate it. Yep, you can run 132nd on 124. You should only need outside shoulders for 132nd. Right. Yeah, I would start. I mean, the inside shoulders look great, but it's really more of a aesthetic to the track. You really don't have to have the inside shoulders like Billy says. Hey, Billy, hopefully you and Amanda had a nice Christmas. But the outside borders, definitely for 124. 132nd, you can get away with not having them, but you'll find that your cars will lean on that outside guardrail on the turns pretty heavy. So having the outside borders on your turns really changes the way you race it for the better. I totally recommend it. It's worth. It can get expensive, but it's totally worth it. Everything is better if you use two fingers. That's funny. Hey, Steve, what's going on, man? If you don't bring up the tail on Thursday, it didn't happen. That's funny. Scott, your car ran pretty good. I don't know how much tuning you've done to it, but I've got some tips for you because that Viper should be quick. So like I'll text you tonight afterwards with a few things that you should probably do before Thursday if you're going to get the chance to race on Thursday because it's the last week of Revo slots. We all have loved racing the Revo slots. Man, they're so much fun. They are so competitive. It's a lot of fun. Hey, Johnny Pro, welcome. Thanks. I appreciate that you enjoyed the music video. Guys, I'm really behind in the chat, as you can tell. Stu Not Stu. Hey, from the UK. Hope you all had a great Christmas. Thanks, man. Welcome to the live stream. I appreciate you jumping in and commenting so we know that you're here. Good stuff. Second, which is to use the trigger down at the tip with your finger, which adds more control and smoother control. Yeah, that's what I have a feeling is going to help me. So it's going to go on. The other thing, Mike recommended changing out the network and was talking about a lot of the guys are moving in the 132nd scale are moving up to those higher ohm networks for the DeFalco. So Mike was telling me about this when we raced the 6 hour. And so the standard network that ships with a DeFalco is a 290 ohm. And I feel like on the wood track especially, that I can goose the throttle and like snap the car out of the slot at any given point if I'm not super smooth at that. So like as I get tired during a heat and it gets longer, that's when I really notice it starting to happen, where I just don't have the feel in my fingers like that I should. And he gave me a tip, and he's not the first person. A few other people, talked about getting a little slower network, but I ended up ordering. The number is DD287. It's the 522 ohm. Ordered it from DeFalco, and I've been testing that the last couple of days, and man, does it really smooths out the controller, and gives me some nice adjustment. And so I was talking to Steve about it, and they tried a few others, but the 522 seems to really be super smooth. And I noticed that it's just easier for me to keep the rear end of the car behind the guide, if that makes sense. So really, really smooth. Mike, Steve, thanks for the recommendation. John Albright had made the recommendation to me as well when he recommended the 2-finger trigger. So I ordered a couple of those so Dusty and I could try them out and see if it was worth. Okay, my brother has already started the bourbon talk in the live chat. I see where this is going to go. Don't give up your day job for a singing career. Thanks, Pistol Pete. Yeah, I'm not going to make any money singing. I'm not going to make any money on YouTube either, but I'm not going to make any money singing. That's funny. Yeah, that's good. It was a red fox and it's down in the ditch. Okay. Dusty's the king of brown water. Rob, sorry, everyone got to get some sleep. Hey, Rob, thanks for joining us, man. Good night, Rob, as Slaughter says. Kudos to Slaughter. Dave took on a project, his Advent coffee and car calendar reveal YouTube videos, and I don't know that anybody realizes just how much work, even though it's short videos, the editing and everything that goes into that, 25 days of those. Kudos to you, Dave. That's really a lot of work, and they were fun, and I appreciate it. Shout out to Abby, Mrs. Slaughter. She was a good sport, giving her a hard time about her jokes. She had some good ones, Dave. And Dave, you could play the kazoo. You could have done that for my music video. So it's all good. Maybe next year. Maybe I'll write another song. But when I got the idea for the 12 Days of Christmas, not to jump around, but I thought it would be cool to mention some of the things that have happened to the channel that were fun. Like, the magnetic racing guys sending me the light towers, and Kevin from Racetrack Scenics having his Black Friday deal that I got to be a part of, and those were fun. And then my favorite cars are the Thunder slots and the Revo slots. We love those Group 2 cars. I love my slot at Group C stuff. And then of course my channel sponsor, Rost Coffee. Of course they were going to be 5 roast coffees, right? So that's perfect. That worked out great. But it all started when I was like on the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a Carrera starter set from LEB. And I was like, I could do a song. And so that's where it started. I worked on it for, day, one evening. I sat down and wrote all of the lyrics for it, and then sat down with the guitar and threw the camera up, and I was like working through it. And that's why there's so many bloopers, because I didn't really rehearse it too much. So, which made for lots of bloopers, which seems to be, if anybody hangs out long enough to discover the bloopers at the end, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who bail before they got to that hopefully that was worth the wait to the end. So you need more cars, then that makes it harder to spot. Dusty just has expensive hobbies. Don't we all? Oh, man. Let's see here. Santa Sweeney. Nice. Do Bobcat tires make tires that fit the GTY? Yes, he made Billy. He made a tire specific. You can find Bobcat tires, and I think it's Cat KAT on Facebook. And reach out to him, but I believe he has urethane tires for the Mustang GTY, and he definitely was early bringing out tires for Mario and Yoshi. So if you're a urethane tire person, check out Bobcats. I don't know that he is ever on this stream in the live chat, but I do know that Joseph jumps in here every once in a while, and they know each other. So, yeah. So maybe we can get him on the live stream one night. It's been a while since I brought on any guests. So, hey, Bob, welcome. Track owners must be responsible when it comes to keeping horsepower out of the hands of children. Thanks, Steve. Well, that's why I put them in my digital cars, so I can control them. They are GTY specific. Yep. Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate you answering that. I just hadn't gotten there yet. Let's see. I'm skipping some stuff, guys. I apologize. John Mark Hall is in the house. Welcome, John Mark. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great Christmas. Spent Christmas in bed with media flu, but slowly getting better. DeFingers. That's good. Hey, DeFingers. I'm not sure that I said hello earlier. I think DeFingers got his T-shirts this week, which was good. Steve, Marty, thanks for the shirt. It's already gotten a couple of comments. Boom, boom. So a couple of the comments about why is there a girl wearing a helmet on the car? So the original T-shirt design was from some buddies of mine that have an apparel company here in Chillicothe. And the big thing that Chillicothe is known for is right down the street from my house is a paper mill. Most of Hallmark Cards paper has been manufactured there for years and years and years. I still believe they have one machine that's dedicated to Hallmark Card paper. But it's been in this community for 100 years or more, this paper mill. And so people recognize Chillicothe by its smell because a paper mill can be quite stinky at times. They've done lots to improve that over the years, but every once in a while when it's really humid and the cloud ceiling's low, you can smell it. But they had created the shirt we have a big smokestack that's very recognizable. It's red and white striped, and they just repainted it a few years ago. And so it's a landmark here. And so they had that smokestack with that pinup girl riding the smokestack, and it said Paper Town. And it was a great shirt. I loved it. And so I was like, dude, you guys need to do a design for me based on that shirt. And so they took the pinup girl off of that and put her on this car that I had posted on Instagram. They took that picture and converted it into an image and then put her on it and then put my logo up in the right-hand corner, up here, and put the helmet with wings on it. And I thought that was an awesome design. It was great, very creative from them. And so I don't know if that's the kind of comments you got. So the first question was like, why is there a girl on that? Why did you do that? So anyway, Steve, I'm glad you like the shirt. It was fun. And, you never know. It's kind of fun if you ever bump into somebody wearing your shirt in the wild. A long time ago, I had a band, and we used to travel around and play a lot. And we were on vacation once, and I'm in the airport in Atlanta, and I saw somebody out in front of me, and I knew that it was one of my band's T-shirts. And we got closer and closer and closer, and the girl turned around, and she was like, Marty! And she was wearing one of my T-shirts. And I thought it's really, really cool when people support you that way. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thanks to everybody who did buy a shirt. I do have a few extras. I have got a handful of large. I'll have a couple of XLs left, and maybe a couple 2Xs. I'm not sure. I'll know after I get this last order in. So I've had a few people reach out wanting to buy a shirt, and I would be happy to sell you one. But yeah, I'll let you know. I just drove 132nd scale on my 124 power supply. Works great. Yeah, it does. It's just a lot of power for some cars. Like this car has a 25K motor, and a 25K motor at 18 volts. Woo! I wouldn't be able to keep that on my track. So, yeah. Who else do we have? Trigger controller, not so goes for people with teens contracture. Yeah, I could see that being a problem to fingers, where the thumb plunger might be a better option, right? I find that in enduro races, my finger sometimes becomes cramped. The 2-finger trigger may help in that you can use the non-cramped finger to continue racing. Yeah, John, I think that's going to help me out a little bit. And maybe the 2-finger, my biggest problem is the reason why my hands go numb is my hands, no matter what I do, I'm all tensed. And it's not about being like tense. I squeeze too hard when I play the guitar. I squeeze too hard when I play video games. I squeeze too hard. It's just, I have people tell me that I squeeze too hard when I shake hands sometimes. And it's just it's a habit that's really tough for me to break. When I'm playing guitar and singing, I lead worship at church, and about like halfway through song 3, my hands will start going numb. And if I can just ease up my grip on anything, the guitar, my pick, I'll get my fingers right back. But it's just me in my head telling me to just quit squeezing so hard. So it's not that I'm like all tensed up. I just everything I do, I squeeze too hard. And I don't know how else to explain it, but yeah, Scott Kellen had a great time. He is a good kid. I really, he's really good to my daughter Maddie, and we just love him. He's just been part of the family for the last 4 or 5 years, and they got married last year. It was a welcome to the family moment for us, because we really just care a lot about him, and he's just a very kind person, and he was just along for the ride. I didn't want to put any pressure on him. I'm like, just go have fun. Do not worry about where you finish. But we had a couple people that we left in the system, and there were 4 extra races because of it. There were 2 people, and he got to race an extra race, and he ended up doing almost 3 laps more in that 3rd race than he did in his first 2 races. And so that was really helpful to get him to calm down and just relax and stay in the slot. Steve, Dusty, throw it in a freezer. Oh, you're talking about the Fox. Got it. Let's see here. Yeah, Harry, 22. It was a fantastic night. Lots of people. And with the Revo slots, it was just really competitive. I didn't have my best night. My car, I lost one of the little brass nuts out of my Revo slot, so I'm only running 3 on the chassis. And Kellen was running my 333, so I only have 2 full-size Revo slot cars. And so I ran the Porsche 911, which it's still quick. It wasn't handling perfect. So I finished with like 45 laps, almost 46 laps. And my brother got me. He had 46 laps. And I think that that had a little bit to do with it. And I think I was honestly, I was worried about Kellen having fun. So the whole evening, I really was just focused on making sure that he had a good time. I didn't want him to go back and say, "Oh, that was awful." So he kind of occupied some of my time, and I don't know that my head was in it. Plus, it was like right before Christmas, and everybody was in such a good mood, and we were fun, and lots of talking and laughing, and we just had it was a great night for racing. Let's see here. I can't believe Marty doesn't have the family running cars in the background. So we did that last night. We can talk about that. I feel like I'm not getting anything accomplished. So last night we did a family racing night, and Dusty wasn't able to come over, but it was just the 4 of us, me, my daughter Maddie, her husband Kellen, and my youngest daughter Caroline. And we ran sideways Group 5 cars. And mind you, none of them have raced Kellen is the only one that really had laps in with no magnets. They're all used to racing digital, no magnet cars. And so I'm like, it's time to make the switch. So let's just pull the Band-Aid off and have some fun. So we raced sideways cars. And those can be a little bit to handle. They're good and fast on this track. They perform really well. They stay in the slot pretty good. And the kids did really good. They 4 lanes, 3-minute races. I think they were all in the mid to late 80s in lap count. I think Caroline had 89 laps, Kellen had 86 laps, and Maddie had 85 laps. Maddie struggled to stay in the slot a little bit, but they are actually, it's one of their last nights in town, so they're all out with some of their local friends tonight. So we had dinner, and then they took off and met up with some of their friends. So that's why they're not back here racing, or they probably would. And they could show up. I told them if they come home just to come down and start running some laps. But, yep, that's why they're not back there. That's funny. MP, hey, Marty and everyone. Hope Santa was good to all of you. Santa wasn't good to me, but my brother Dusty was, MP. So I got the NSR C7 and the Jägermeister. That's a great-looking car. Oh, who else? So, Mas, hey, man, thanks for joining. Hope you had a great Christmas. I'm skipping down. Guys, I'm getting way behind in the chat. Dusty, I use the middle finger when driving my van. That was a good one to fingers. Is that all you use it for? Always good to keep the middle finger loosened up, Dusty. Yeah, especially in Cincinnati traffic. Yeah, Steve, I am digging the 522. I'm not going to lie. It really, I will see how it does on Thursday on Bruce's track. But because I don't know that my track really is big enough with this layout. I can tell a difference, but I think I think I'll be able to see a little bigger difference at Bruce's track and a big difference at Butch's track. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So the next race at Butch's. Steve, question, ideas on airbrushes. Man, Steve, I've got something to talk about with paint. So you guys know that I was working on the Jake Dyke special, and I got my decals on it that I made, and you can see when I clear coated, it peeled the paint and just lifted all of the paint off the car. And so now I've got to dip this car and get rid of all the paint and start over. And if I thought about it, I would have just left it without clear coat. It didn't really need it. It's a dirt track car, so it didn't need a big glossy finish. I was just trying to protect the decals, and I would be done with this car and sending it to George. And so now I've got to start over painting this car and reapplying the decals, and I'm afraid that by getting the paint off of it, that it's going to cause problems with my glue on my body mounts. And so I'm the wrong guy to ask about airbrushes, Steve. I do not own an airbrush. I don't know anything about airbrush, and I'm obviously not good at painting. Give me a guitar, I'll be all right. Not great, but okay. But an airbrush, painting, I am awful at painting. And it frustrates me that I'm not good at it, but I'm not. So know what you're good at, know what you're not good at. Gene has a recommendation on an airbrush, $35, $45 on Amazon. That's actually a great deal. The Advent vids were great. Yeah, I agree, John. Even the bad Christmas jokes included. Okay, watched all the way through the bloopers. Thought it was fun. Thanks, Greg. It was fun. I enjoyed putting it together. Expensive hobby. I need to stop buying cars and get a track to run them on. Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, you got to be able to run those cars, man. Kurt DeMars, what's up, man? Hi, Greg, Josh, and Mike. Good to have you, Kurt. Kurt, I followed you and Mike's recommendation on the network, and I upgraded my network on the DeFalco to the 522. Kurt, hope you had a great a great Christmas. So yeah, thanks for jumping in and joining. So, hey, Bo, thanks for being here tonight. What's up? Just got the replacement bridge supports for Carrera today. They sent the same wrong supports that came with the set. Shame on you, Carrera. I don't think they make bridge supports for 124 scale. They do. All the bridge supports are the same, I think. Pretty much. Gary, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hey, Big Jimmy, no worries. You're not late. You haven't missed anything. All I've done is yap about slot cars. Hey, Tad. Tad, I probably need to send you my body since I can't paint, and you seem to be able to build cars really well and paint really well. Let's see. Teaser awesome. Awesome. Thanks, the fingers. I'm glad they like them. Hey, Donald. Let's see who else. What else am I missing? I'm looking for questions. So if I miss somebody, I apologize. Hey, Patriot. No worries about being late. Putting the dollhouse from hell together. Was it a Barbie dream house? Because Dusty and I have experience putting one of those stinking things together, I think. Or maybe it was just me. Maybe I helped Dad put that thing together for Christmas. Our sister got one when we were little, and that thing took hours to put together. Wow. So I feel for you, man. Hey, Frankie. Hey, Peter. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks. Do I pet the family dog too hard? No, I don't squeeze him too hard. Finn's okay. He can defend himself. Let's see. What else we got? Yeah, exactly, Danny. Yeah, watch out. Another slot jockey in the making. So, yeah, my daughter, Caroline, she put in some laps. So after we were done racing, just to finish that story, after we were done racing, she stayed downstairs, and the other two went upstairs. And for about an hour and a half, she and I just did laps, and she kept getting faster and faster. And honestly, she was running like 5 2s with the sideways cars. And then I put her in a Group C car, and those are usually like 5 4s on this track. And she was running 5 2s and 5 3s with my Nissan, really driving it smooth around the track and staying in the slot. She was really putting in some quality, quick laps. So I think if she stuck with it, she could really be a good driver. She has really good timing, gets in a really good rhythm. But both of my girls are super competitive. They get it from their mom and their dad, maybe. So they, when it comes out of the slot, they get super frustrated. I was like, hey, it just comes with the territory. So you just got to get used to it. Did Marty just say that he lost one of his nuts? Wow, that's how far behind I am. I don't know if this has any relevance to your controller. I bought 4 used controllers. All of them had the trigger spring changed to a lighter pull spring. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure that it's the pull string or the strength of the spring as much as it's just me squeezing just holding it too tight, man. It really, yep, it's the tight grip. Actually, just below my desk, you can't see it, is the sump hole that's got a grate over it in the basement. And there are quite a few slot car parts down in that sump hole that I'm not willing to go down and get. And I'm sure that that's where the brass nut for the Revo slot is, because it fell off the table, hit the leg of the table, and bounced towards the grate. And I just know that that's where it's at. All right. Where are we at when it comes to talking utter slots? Hey, thanks, guys. I really enjoy your podcast. Thanks for jumping in on the live chat. You guys do a great job. Always appreciate the banner. Great humor. So it's fun. Keep up the great work. I tune in as often as I can. But the 12 days. I actually did that video a couple weeks ago, and I've been sitting on it trying to decide when. And I just scheduled it for Christmas Day. I have to tell you, I didn't get a strike for it, but I did get some Australian company that claimed ownership of the melody of the song and listed as a cover song. So I'm splitting my revenue, which will not be but like $1.25, based on the views. But I'm splitting my revenue with this, and it's not even worth like fighting over. Usually I fight that stuff because I pay for the licensing to the music that I use, and people just claim anything and everything. And so I usually fight it and win. But this one was like, yeah, I'm just not going to fight that. It's not going to get enough views that I have to worry about it. Hey, Slot Valley Racing, Merry Christmas, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, Steve was flying, Daryl. You're right. Scott was running good. He's got to get that car to stay in the slot a little bit better, and I think I've got a couple ideas for him. So Scott, if you haven't dove too deep into tuning your car this week, we'll try to let's try to get you just a touch better, because I think we can make that happen, because that's a fast car. It's got a good, strong motor in it. Has anyone heard word of the Riva Slot Black GT1 from 132? Steve, I have not seen anybody receive that. I'm guessing that it's probably going to ship after the first of the year. That would be my guess. Marty, use floor shine on your car. Works as a clear coat. Tad, that's... I wish I'd have done that before I ruined the painting that I had done on this car. So, yeah, I pretty much have to start over. It's a mess. But I will, so just use floor shine like I do for my front tires. I think I watched a video where a guy just painted that on today. But I've got to get this car finished. It's set here long enough. And it's going to be slow as all get out anyway. It's not going to do well in this proxy. It's my first try. But I've got to get it done and sent out. So, hey, Anthony. Good to have you, man. Let's see. Dan, done. What are you done? You done with my live stream? Thanks, man. Hopefully everything's all right. Someone should, unless like me, we use rattle cans. I use rattle can because I don't have an airbrush or anything, and maybe that's what I'll eventually jump into. We'll see. My guess is that the paint was acrylic and the clear coat wasn't. No, Dave, it was all the same brand. It was the 2X Rust-Oleum Master's Touch. I have the color, the paint, the primer paint color, and the clear coat all in that same brand. But man, when I hit that with the clear coat, I mean, it was a thin coat too. It was just, I just missed it across it, and I just watched the white bubble up. And George seems to think that I didn't get the body clean, and so it just, the heat that it created just caused that paint to just wrinkle and peel. And I think he might be right. I mean, even though I washed it down with like rubbing alcohol and cleaned it up. So anybody have any ideas on how to strip the paint off of this? I've heard like an alcohol bath and just let it sit for a few hours or overnight. But if you have any opinions on that, let me know, because I've got to strip this paint off so I can get this car done. And I keep putting it off because I'm dreading it. Supports to short 124 scale on my new start your engine set. Gotcha. Let's see. Did I see Tim in here? Hey, Tim. Tim is considering building a wood track. So he's looking for good designs. I wish him luck. That would be a fun project. Probably not 2024, but I'm hoping maybe 2025. I figure out exactly what I would want to build and maybe build a wood track. I do like my plastic track though, so I don't want to give up on that. But I would like to have a 3 or 4 lane wood track. That would be a fun build. That would make great content for the channel, but I think it would just be fun, and I think I'm probably a decent enough woodworker that I could make it happen. I could figure it out, and I got some ideas from a layout standpoint that I like. So we'll see. But yeah, Tim, I wish you the best of luck on that. Hey, Dave, welcome. Appreciate you stopping by. Hey, Slot Car Heaven, what's going on? Marty is the track behind, built by all the slot car tracks from LEB. Bo, after 12 days of I probably should have asked permission. Funny story about the 12 Days of Christmas video. I asked a few people to sing a portion of the song so I could put them in. And I sent Doug and Ian, I don't know if they're on tonight, but I sent Doug and Ian a message and said, hey guys, I hope it's okay. You guys are the 8th day of Slotmas. And here's a clip of me singing that part. And it would be awesome if you guys sang that part and held like 8 sets of magnetic racing sets. And within an hour, those guys had sent me 3 different videos, and one of them has some bloopers. And I was going to include it in my blooper reel, but I didn't. They were such great sports. Kudos to them. But the few other people had no interest in singing their portion. So Dave, just so you know, I did a 12 Days of Slotmas video. It's a song. I just changed the words to this 12 days. And the first day of Slotmas, my true love gave to me a Carrera starter set from LEB. And so that was my first line, and that's what started the whole song. And so then I wrote, other things that I did throughout the channel throughout the last year. So I probably should have sent LEB a message and said, I hope it's okay that I use you in this, because I don't want to mislead anybody. I'm not sponsored by them, but I thought it would be fun. I included Slot Car Corner. I should have included Cloverleaf, but I'd actually already written the song by the time we had gotten to before I met you guys. So Mike, next year, Cloverleaf will be in whatever I end up doing. But yeah, Bo, not all the LEB starter sets. I only started with 1 starter set. Let's see here. What else do we have? Hey Pat. Oh boy, I got was an overflowing septic tank. Oh, that's what you got for Christmas? Pachi, welcome. Feliz Navidad. ¿Cómo está, amigo? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining. Hope you had a great Christmas. Not a good night at the World of Tanks, so you quit playing for the night. I understand that. When I used to play Call of Duty or Soldier of Fortune or any of those first-person shooter games, my favorite first-person shooter game is Unreal Tournament. I would still play that game. That's my favorite of all time. But yeah, when I was having a bad night, sometimes it's just hang it up and live to play another night, right? They must have went cheap on the supports for the new sets. Maybe. Going to pack a box of cars for Harry, going to see how many fit, and I'll stop packing when the box is full. That's really cool. That will be great. I appreciate that, I'm sure, Dave. So kudos to you, man. Thanks for nothing. Nice. Hey, Kevin, welcome, man. Kevin, hopefully you had a great Christmas. I'm excited about your releasing of the new track system. So hopefully when you start filling orders, we'll start seeing videos of people putting your tracks together. So I think that would be great to see one of those go together, not just in the finished product, but the process. I know George ordered one of the little O's, so maybe he'll do a video about building that track. That would be awesome. I want the NSR C8R. Yeah, I'm not sure when that releases, but Jeff, that will be a very popular car. But I will tell you that the C7R is a very good car. Minimal tuning, and I'm running 5.1s and 5.2s on my layout, and that's pretty quick. The only cars that are faster is my Mosler, which is my fastest car on this layout, and my Thunder slots all run under 5 on this track. 4.7s, 4.8s. I have one. My Mosler will run like 4 flat, which is nuts. You would think it was a magnet car. It gets around so fast. Yeah, I've thought about just throwing a piece of plywood over it, Greg, to be honest. Let's see. Seriously, Marty, that's ridiculous on the copyright claim. Yeah, and who knows if they even, Harry, who knows if they even own it, right? I think so many times people they make a claim whether they own something or not, and YouTube can't, it's impossible for them to research all that stuff, I think. And so what happens to me is I subscribe to a service and I use their music, and then the person who sold the music to the service for the service to resell always makes a claim on the music. And so I have to fight it every time, which wastes an entire 30 days for YouTube to review it and tell me whether I won or not. And it drives me insane. I'm like, I already paid for this. Here's the license. And they make a claim on me. And so it's frustrating. It's really tough. Listen, I've written music. I've produced music out there in the real world for my band that is original music. And so I understand the whole copyright thing and the claiming, and I mean, I get paid very, very little from Spotify and Apple Music when people play my music. And so I get it from an artist standpoint. You make a claim, somebody's using your music, you make a claim because you can get some revenue from it, especially if it happens to go viral and gets millions of views, then it might turn into something, you make about $3.50 or less than that, probably $2.75 to $3.50, just depends on your channel per 1,000 views. And, so you get something that gets millions of views, then that could add up to some substantial money, I guess. But yeah, copyright claims, the claim versus a strike. A strike is when it makes you nervous as a YouTube channel owner, because 3 strikes and they kill your channel and all the work that you've done. So you can't afford to get a strike. So you have to be really careful about what you post out there. But it was a cover song. I knew somebody would try to claim it, and so some group in Australia, and they only are monetized in 6 countries. So it's not like they're monetized in the United States. So they're only going to get revenue from the people from those 6 countries or 8 countries, whatever it is, that they own the rights to. But they're from Australia. Okay, we didn't want to talk about that. You want to talk about slot cars. When I played the Slotmas outtakes backwards, I heard another clue about the death of Palmer. Vin, that's funny. Hey, Rob DeLeon, good to have you, man. Merry Christmas. Thanks for joining in. Okay, where are we at? Merry Christmas, Slot Car Dojo. I hope everybody had a good Christmas. Marty, if you use Floor Shine as a clear coat, I hope it tires out better than mine. Marty. You have two pro painters to pick as many questions as possible from Dave and myself about your paint issues. Hey, Boone, I was actually going to send you a message. I was talking to George about it, too. I'll send you a message. I just need to figure out how to strip this paint off now. That'll be my first attempt. And then once I get the body prepped again, then I'll start over and go from there. It's a weird color of yellow. It looks like regular yellow, but it's really pale. It's a really pale color. And so, yeah, getting it to match was the hard part. And I found a paint. And so I went with that. It's a rattle can. So I know that's probably my first mess up, but I think it had to do with, since he Slots has a paint stripping video. Does Bruce have us? I'll have to go check that out, John Mark. Thanks. Maybe that's where I heard the alcohol, the isopropyl alcohol. Maybe it was from that video. It's going to be a journey. Yep, Tim. They all are. 522 is all I ever use now, Marty. Fast cars, slow cars, heavy, etc. Being smooth is the goal. Kurt, yeah, man, I appreciate that advice that you gave me, because it really does. The 522 really does help you be smooth. I find it just a touch easier to keep the rear end behind the guide, right, and let that rear end track instead of slide out. And so I feel like just in the couple days that I've played with the network, it's really smoothed things out for me. So great advice. That's exactly, yep, that's what we're looking for. 91% alcohol for a couple hours will strip it. Thanks, Pat. Got a bottle of it right here. So I'm going to try it after the live stream. Anthony, thanks. I appreciate it. It was fun. I had a great time with it, and I'm glad that people liked it. Who watched Die Hard as their Christmas movie? I watch it every year as my Christmas movie. I love the original Die Hard movie. I actually like the first two, maybe the third one even. It's been a while since I've watched them. Question: okay, that was the one I just answered. Gene, you watched Ford versus Ferrari. That's a great movie. Has anybody seen the new Ferrari movie? Adam Driver. It looks really good. I may try to get to that this weekend at the theater. Maybe. I think The Shining is a better Christmas movie. So, Slot R, true story. That was filmed at the Stanley in Estes Park, Colorado. That's where that movie takes place, The Shining. And I've been to that hotel. It is a beautiful hotel. But yeah, it's very, very cool. If you ever look it up, it's gorgeous. But yep, The Shining. Yeah, Christmas movie. I got 13 cars in a box for him. That's fantastic. Scott, you loved Unreal Tournament. Oh man, Scott, not to get off the subject, Unreal Tournament. I was working for a company that was sort of a startup company, and we were working tons and tons of late hours, and we were having a blast. But we would fire up a server. It would be like we needed to be home. It's like 9:00 at night. Everybody needed to leave the office, and we were like, all right, 15 minutes. And we would play just all out for 15 minutes and then shut it down and go home. And we did that almost every night for months. And it was probably what kept us sane, working 70, 80 hours a week, trying to make that company go. It was a blast. The computer game, no kidding. 13, lucky for some, great stuff. Dave, that's my lucky number and also your birthday. It is. No idea on the C8. Can't wait for that one. I think it'll be super popular, Dave. The C8 was a really popular car for Carrera and Skillectric when they got it out last year. So no doubt will the NSR version, highly anticipated. It will definitely be a front runner for slot car of the year next year. I'm waiting for Harry to release his video about slot car of the year. I have my opinions on the slot cars that I purchased. I thought about doing a video of my slot cars that I received or purchased in the year 2023 and my opinions on them, but I didn't want to do anything until after Harry releases his slot car of the year. I don't know when he does that. I've not been involved in the hobby long enough to know about that. Maybe he already released it and I missed it. If that's the case, I apologize. Let me know in the chat. I would say the first quarter. Yeah, they say first quarter 24. Yeah. Gene. I know. Gene, I don't play him either. I'm a keyboard and mouse player. I'm not a gamepad or controller player. I can't aim and shoot those things with the controller. A sheet of fine screen to cover your bump grate, easy to remove, clean if needed. Yeah. Good idea, John. And too bad it's brass, because I would just take a magnet and try to reach down there and find it. But the bottom of the pit is covered with gravel, and so I just don't know that I'll be able to find it. It'll be easier just to order some off of. And then my last order, I forgot to throw them in there. So again, another week goes by. Yeah, it was good. It was fun to watch Gene race on Christmas Day. I watched a little bit of that too. B1997C. I'm not sure which one it is. So the C7 130 run good. So all C7 132nd cars run good. I don't know about other brands, but Black 1997 Cobra. This car runs really good. This is a fantastic car. And I think it's got more in it. That's what I'm excited about, is I really haven't done the major tuning to it. Bo, YouTube banned me for 2 single days because I posted links. One was by YouTube. They now deleted my posted links. They claim I violated their rules. Oh, well. Bo, it's an algorithm, and it's AI that's doing that on some of that stuff. And it's weird what stuff gets banned. You could have upset somebody and they turned it in too, the comment in. So, I mean, I don't know. Sorry about that. I don't think it was on any of my videos, hopefully. Do they have a Carrera Nissan GTR? Oh, that's a good question. I do not know if Carrera made a Nissan GTR. Dave probably knows that. So if they do, try a brush, Marty. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to try the alcohol dip first and see if I can get it to come off. Steve, you watched It's a Wonderful Life. I love that movie. Jimmy Stewart is one of my favorites. Doris, Donna Reed is one of my favorites. I love that movie. It's great. I'm a big White Christmas fan, Bing Crosby. So where do you get 91% alcohol? CVS, Walgreens, Walmart. They all make it. The Walmart brand, the label's red. I thought The Shining was filmed here on Mount Hood. It may have been filmed there, Tim, but I think that the story takes place at the Stanley in Estes Park, Colorado, because they're snowed in they're at the edge of the Rocky Mountains, or in the Rocky Mountains. I believe. I may be wrong, but the Stanley Hotel, that's the claim that they make when you go on a tour there. Question: what time is Boone on live and day? Thank you. I don't know that Boone has a certain time, Gina, that he goes live. I think it's just based on his projects that he has going on. And he's a little under the weather. He fell off a ladder and is dealing with some broken ribs, and because he gave me a little hard time for making him laugh with the 12 Days of Slopmas video. It's a little painful, but if he's still in the he can comment and let you know. I would just make sure you're following his channel and make sure you get the notifications. They're always great, very insightful, especially if you're into scenery. I mean, he's the king of that stuff. The Great Escape every Boxing Day. It's a Wonderful Life. I've watched it for the past 65 years, Pat. Yeah, it's a good one. The moment when people start showing up at his house is it's a great movie moment. Don, hey Marty, .3 brake fluid will remove paint and not hurt the plastic. Thanks, Don. That's good to know. If the alcohol doesn't work, then I know I can try that, but it will not hurt the plastic. Yeah, because that's the last thing I need is to melt the body. Then I'm gonna, if that's the case, then I'm gonna retrofit the chassis to throw the Beetle body on it. Cyborg has been my handle since about 97 when playing Quake online. Oh, Cyborg, Quake was a lot of fun too. Duke Nukem, Quake, those early games were fun. Castle Wolfenstein, those are what got me hooked on it. But Unreal Tournament was just my favorite. I loved the just the futuristic piece and in its game pace. Call of Duty is a little slower pace from your character standpoint, more realistic. But yeah, I loved it. Colorado, you must be talking about The Shining. Yeah, it was supposed to take place in Colorado. What else do we have? I do a lot of analog wood track racing, so it's just time to get my own track for tuning purposes. It really is tough to tune on a plastic track and go to a wood track. The car does not, it just doesn't do the same thing. So, Boone, I don't have a set day to do live streams, but I'm thinking about it. Boone, it's actually, so for me, I think Garth Fruth is actually the one who told me that I should do Tuesdays at 2 lines as a joke. And so I did. I was super inconsistent of when I did my live stream when I first started in the first couple weeks. And we landed on Tuesday, and it just works. And I've kind of built my life around it because it's just that important to me to gather together with the community and just have great conversation and become a resource and an open forum for people to just throw questions out there. So, Tad and Marty, next time you paint a car, test everything on a plastic spoon first. Make sure the paint and the clear get along with each other. Great comment, Tad. See, these are all things that I just really didn't know because I just never got into painting much. I mean, I built some models when I was a kid. I painted a few of them, but I probably never put clear coat on them. I just kind of painted them and moved on. I was always, I think I've told the story, I'm a little impatient when it comes to building things. Start to finish, if I can do it, start to finish nonstop, I'll work 8 hours on something and knock it out. So something that you have to be really patient with. As a kid, I was awful at. Obviously, I've gotten a little better as an adult, but this paint, like, it's been on this car for 2 months now, And I finally was like, okay, I got my decals on there. It looks okay. I'm just going to have to live with it. It's not going to be great. And then as soon as I hit it with a clear, it just was a mess. Let's see. Screw on the scale auto axle. Mitsu axle is stripped. Oh, that's too bad. So that's a car you won't be able to send to Harry. Question, The Shining was a good movie. Yeah, it was. I bought 2 racetracks, 132nd, and now I'm trying to build a table to accommodate the 2 tracks together. Any suggestions? Well, it depends on. So here's what I would recommend. Take an inventory of all your track pieces that you have. And it'd be great if you could use all of the track pieces. But I would build a track that fits on the table that you build. So if you've got room for an 8-foot wide by 12-foot table, then build your layout that takes the best use of that space. But make sure that the track is just not a difficult track to marshal, or as Travis calls it, a spaghetti track, where it just goes everywhere just to try to use all your track. I made that mistake. The track was fun, but man, when you came off in the weirdest places, under bridges, tough places to reach. And if you start doing some racing with your buddies, that becomes a problem. So make sure the track has good flow. Let's just make it fun. And if you use all the pieces, that's great. But don't feel like you have to use everything. Just take a good inventory. And if you go out to Softy, what is it called? I can never remember the name of this website. Softy Royal, SOFTYROYAL.de. I'll put a link to it in the chat. That is an free online planner that you can map out, put your table size in, and map out the plan. Now, there are a lot of people that just love to start building and creating, and that's great. I like to have a plan. One, I don't want to get to the end and need like a quarter straight to finish and then not be able to use my track. So I really like to plan out. And any changes I make to the layout take me months or weeks of planning. You can ask Dusty and John Mark. I sent them probably 30 different designs and said, hey, what's your opinion? What do you think? And they would give me feedback. Hey, that looks like that corner might be a problem. It's too far away from us to marshal really efficiently. Those kind of things. So I really do enjoy the layout design process. But I've got a large table that makes it nice if you're dealing with a really small table, it's definitely limiting. I'm not very patient either, but I'm working on it. Yeah, Tad, I start a project, I like to see it through to the end, because I think in the past that there have been projects that I wasn't good at finishing. And so I know that about myself. So that's why start to finish, knock it out, get it done. That's my problem. DNA, Merry Christmas. Hey, thanks for joining. Let's see here. Who else do we have? Hey, Jamie, not super late, man. Don't worry about it. Glad to have you. Hopefully having a great holiday. I really have not accomplished anything in this live stream. We've talked about a million things. I've got to get back to this car. And I put the CG slot car 3D printed chassis. I'm running a 22.5 motor. I'm having some problems with traction. And it could be the motor. I'm going to do some tests with that. But my biggest issue is this car is loud. And you guys know I like quiet cars, and this car is so stinking loud. It's frustrating me. It's quick, but it's very tail happy. And I think a lot of it is to do is just not getting any traction. So I'm going to, this week at Bruce's, I'm going to pick up a new set of tires for it. And I'm actually going to go up a size. These are 1402s. And I think I'm going to try 1403s and see if it gives me a little better traction. The problem is they're just a touch wider, and I just don't have a lot of room. So I don't know if 1403s, actually I've got them on about 10 different cars. I should probably just try it and test it before. But I need to see if that will improve the traction. I think if I can get a little bit of traction, it can perform okay. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this thing a little quieter. The interior doesn't rattle. It is the motor pod and the body float. It's just this chassis. It's loud. It's loud, but I love the livery. Honestly, the Miss Levi's and the Wolf Motor Oil on the front. I do love this livery, and I want this car to perform well. But right now, we're going to be pretty slow for this class. There's going to be a lot faster cars. Dusty built his car is quick and fast and smooth and quiet, and mine is none of that. So we'll see. So that's a project I have ahead of me. I've got to get this repainted so I can send it out to George. I've got to get this car finished tuning. So Jamie, so I'll be ready for the GT class the last month, NSR GT. But I have about 5 or 6 fly cars prepped for that month too. So it depends. I don't know what I'm going to race. But I do not own any Polycar F1 cars, so I probably will not race that class. I'll probably stick to the NSR GT and the fly cars. I think the fly car will be a fun, slow class. So it should be a good time. All right, Marty, Worldwide Slot Car Chat did a long chat on paint removal, episode 271. Check it out. Excellent info on paint removal. Thanks, Jeff. 271. I'm going to write that down. 271. All right. Got it. I'll check it out. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. Track layouts are your kryptonite. Tim, send me your space that you would like to build your wood track layout. I've been collecting wood track layout pictures. For my design that I'll end up doing eventually. And if I know how big of a space you're wanting to build, wait, you did send that to me. Well, you sent me your total space. Like, how big do you want your layout? Because you said you wanted room for pits. If you send me that, I'll send you a few ideas that I have, maybe, based on that space. So, if that's cool with you. Jamie who's in the chat, is a really good track designer. He has great ideas. So let's see. What else do we have? Yeah, dude, Jamie's fast too. I think he won 2 weeks ago. I don't know how you did with your digital Thursday because we had to leave. It got late. Gina, does the position of the motor really make a difference? You mean as in sidewinder versus angle winder versus front motor mounted? I think so. Inline. I think that each one reacts different when it comes to the track, and this is going to be my own description. Inline cars, I think, are very predictable, and pretty smooth. And when you take off, the torque is side to side, right? So depending on how your motor spinning and how it's mounted. Your car will twist a little bit on launch, but it's really easy to keep under control. A Sidewinder, your torque from the motor is, from back to front. So they seem to be a little smoother to me. And I will say that angle winders, even though I've driven a few angle winders that I really like, I would not call this an angle winder, even though the motor is slightly at an angle. I would call that, I call that a Sidewinder. It's not at a very steep angle. Sidewinder, angle winder. And for me, angle winders are a little twitchy. I feel like the way the motor is situated in there, they can be really fast cars, but they seemed a little twitchy to me. So I do think that the motor position does make a big difference on how a car handles, how traction is applied to the track. But this is in very layman terms. I'm not an engineer by any means. There's all kinds of technical explanations of why the motor position. But like I have one front-mounted motor car. I can't get that thing tuned to save my life. It gets around okay, but it's just the weight distribution is just totally off for me and different, and the car doesn't perform well because I just can't get traction to the rear. Let's see here. Table size will probably more important than the amount of track you have. You can always buy more track. Yep, Greg, that's perfect advice. Mad P, they're not as loud as if you turn up the stereo. Yeah, that's what I'll do. That will make me feel better. I'm running 132nd, 124 scale cars on my track right now. I think the 120, you like 124 better? Better drifting with 124 scale. Yeah. The 124s are fun. We like to race the 124 digital. The Carrera digitals, that's the only ones that we own. And that it's fun. It's like demo derby though. It's pretty chaotic, but it's a lot of fun. I'm still a 132nd. My next race night will probably be Fly Classics and Group 2 Revo slots. Not sure when that will be. Jamie, you let me know. We will do our best to try to be there. Those are two great. Those are going to be fun classes. See, I've got. Oh, geez. Fly. Let's talk fly cars then, Jamie, since you're bringing them up. So I have my Flunder prepped about a 5.7, 5.8 on this track. I have my 908. That is about the same speed. With magnet, this car is fast. Pulled the magnet, not near as fast. This is probably my fastest fly car. This car is sweet. I really like it. It's not my fastest fly car, but it would be my fastest fly classic car. And then this car is the car that just stays in the slot, and it is just a fun drive. And that's the Beta Monte Carlo, the Lancia. So those are my fly cars that I've got prepped and ready to bring to your track, I guess, Jamie. So let's go. I need to host a race night. Gosh, I keep putting it off. I just need to make it happen. I purchased a new variable power supply for my Carrera. I like to run both digital and analog with my tech slot unit. Will be compromised. So Donald, to help you with that, I did the same thing. I ran a tech slot box. So what you have to be careful. Your tech slot box should have the 124 scale chips in it, which will handle 18 volts. So you will be fine running the 124 cars or the 132nd cars. Shouldn't be a problem. The cars that would be a problem is anything with a kind of a hot motor. So I would stay away from anything over 25K. You could probably get away with the 25K motors that don't have a ton of magnetic downforce. So like the NSR Shark motors would be fine. I think that the magnetic effect NSR motors would be fine too, the 25K. But anything over that, I think it's going to be a little too hot and too much draw and will burn up the chips because this car, a scaly Honda, it has a BRM 124 scale high magnet downforce motor. Now, I don't know what the RPM rating is, but this car draws, it has a lot of magnet downforce. It will burn up a Carrera chip in the tech slot box. Burn up one with this car, one with another car that had that same motor. So that's the only warning I would have is I would just be careful running anything over 25K motor. 30K motors, yeah, I just think that's way too much draw and will cause a problem with the chip. That's just my opinion. So 100-foot lane length. Yeah, you had mentioned that, Tim. I got 2 Scalextric Minis from my lady for Christmas. Haven't run a Scalextric Mini since 1997. That'll be fun. Those will be fun cars. We love the Big Girls Slot Car League. Yes. 124 all day long. That's cool. I'm glad you guys like 124s. We like to run them digital, but we haven't really gotten into. Once we get to scratch building, 124, 125th scale is probably going to be what we build a lot of. So, because there's just not a lot of body choices when it comes to 132nd scale. Let's see. Purchase the set in the 90s. You're welcome, Gina. Track never stop evolving, in my opinion. DeFingers, I would say you are correct. If you've followed my channel, I've changed about every 9 months, I've changed my layout on average. Early on, I was changing it because we were growing it. But once we got to a certain size of table, I think 9 months is about where we land. And so we've been at this 4-lane for about 2 months, maybe. I'm trying to remember when I did that, back in October, I think. And so we'll see how long it sticks around. It's fun. We're enjoying the 4-lane, but I'll get the itch to redesign something. But I think I'll stay 4-lane for a while. We'll probably just maybe add a little bit to this. I've got a couple of ideas to maybe add a little bit of lane length and add a little more technical to the track, but I'm not in a big hurry to make a change right now. How many cars do I have? Oh gosh. So they tell you should probably never count them. So I'm going to give you just a rough estimate of I'm sitting around 60 cars total. BRM motor is a 25K. Marty is a white. It's a white car magnet. I got to read these closer. Hey, Nick V. You and Dusty both have the tidy whitey cars. That's funny. So how many cars do I have? I have close to 60 cars now. So I still don't have a big collection. I bet my brother has more cars than I do now. Yeah. I'll do an official count, but I think it's about 60 cars. That's funny, Jamie. Don't encourage him, Jamie. don't encourage him. Yeah, no problem, Donald. We'll do 132nd slot car. Yep. My gifts this Christmas are the BRM 124 scale McLaren F1. Nice. That's cool, Jeff. Once you come to the dark side of wood track, you'll love 124 analog brass cars, Marty. Yeah, I think that would be fun. But you know, we don't race on a big commercial wood track. Butch's track is really made for the hard body cars. I think his lane spacing is really set for 132nd scale. So outside of that, I haven't really been invited to a big wood track that's close. Tom Works has invited us down to Georgia to those tracks at the Viper Pit. Would be fun to get down there. But outside of that, you know, we never made it up to Tom Thumbs before they tore that track down to run. There's a track over in Pataskala, I think, that is a private wood track that is the same as that King track. So we don't really know those guys, so we probably won't get an invite to go there, and I don't have cars to run on it unless they run, you know, the 132nd scale cars. Marty has a rookie-sized starter set of cars. I am still a rookie. Daryl, you are correct. I did not purchase anything slot cars for Christmas. Moondoggy, you were well behaved. I see Carrera must have changed their guide system at some point. The older digital 132nd scales have less play in the guide than the newer ones. I don't have any older Carrera cars to compare that to, so I don't have a way to answer that question. I apologize. Hey, Nick. Don't count. I know, John. I know. That's why I kind of just did a roundabout. Hey, Garth. Garth sent me a message again. If you're looking for guides to try, they have let's see, what is the website again? Sorry, Garth. I should have it memorized. Let's see. Yeah, jadedparts.com, and they have a really nice Carrera replacement guide. It's very similar to the Slot Invasion Carrera replacement guide, only it's got two of these little notches, one in the front and one in the back, that really limit the movement of the guide on the Carrera. So they've done a nice job of designing that. So good job, Garth. But welcome. A King track is a blast to run 132nd on. Yeah, it's a big track. It's like 155 feet, right? Something like that. So yeah, big lane length. So there's in my hometown, Greg, there is a guy that has an old orange track. And it's sitting in his garage in parts, and I don't know what kind of shape it's in. I mean, it may be too far gone, but that looks like a great layout as well, the old orange tracks, because it's got a little S section. If he has that in the track, it would be cool to see that track set back up. But yeah, we missed out on running the King track, and then they make a mini King out there that looks really cool. So yeah, it would be fun. It would be a lot of fun. All ours are private 124 style wood tracks, 75 to 130 feet. I'm building my track with 4.5-inch lane spacing so you can run both 132nd and 124. Good idea. Who can I buy Carrera 132nd cars off from a nice at a nice price? So black 1997 Cobra. There's lots of places. You're going to find that pricing is pretty similar anywhere you go. Now, there are some used stuff at Cincy Slots because he buys collections to resale. And so if you go to cincyslots.com and check what Bruce has out there, you can find some really good deals on analog and digital Carrera cars. I was just out there earlier today looking to see what he had. And so he's got some deals out there, but you check the message boards. The Home Racing World guys are always posting cars. Well, not Home Racing World. In the forums, sorry. Not on the Facebook page, but there's no sales on the Facebook page. But in the forums, there's a place for sales, and guys sell cars. So you can pick up some used cars that way. That's really the only way you're going to save a little bit of money. But Carrera cars are priced right. I mean, they're a great value, and they hold up really well. Let's see. So there you go. But all of the main websites have them. Great Traditions has them. LEB has them. Professor Motor, Cloverleaf. Well, maybe Cloverleaf doesn't have Carrera. But you can find Carrera just about anywhere. Let's see. Greg, on Tom Thumbs, you just hold the trigger down the straight and through the first full turn and not brake until the second turn. Yeah, that big high bank, as long as you've got traction, you can hold it. My last purchase was a P68 Ford. Yeah, the P68s are sweet, those NSRs. I can hardly keep my eyes open. Good night, Bo. Get some sleep. Yes, the orange track would be sweet. Yeah, Greg, I've hinted around to the guy that maybe we would start a club. Maybe I'd be interested in that track. But it might be, if it's been in storage for all these years since the mid-90s, it may not be in any shape to rebuild. So I don't know. But I really like the orange layout. It's pretty cool. Yeah, looks like we got some guys dropping off. American Raceway's Monarch 100, a.k.a. the orange. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it, John. I knew you would know it. It's a cool layout. I really like the Monarch. I mean, the King is obviously, a famous layout. I think probably all of those American Raceways are at this point. But the orange is really a neat-looking layout. Looks like it would be fun. But, I mean, those tracks are so big, like marshalling, and for a small club, you'd have to have quite a few people showing up each week just to be able to cover, the track, marshalling it. So 8 lanes, that's a lot. A lot of people. But like at Bruce, we had 22. But a race night, 22 people with 8 lanes each running 3.5 minute heats in each lane. It'd be a long night, but it'd be fun. That's what I like about my 4-lane here. We run 3-minute heats on this little track. We have a blast. Let's see. Night, Pat. Hey, Chris. Welcome. We're at 9:43. We've gone late. Haven't talked about a darn thing. Talked a lot about what we got for Christmas, which is good. But I'm about to wrap up, so I apologize, Chris, for you jumping in, and I'm about ready to bail on you. But guys, I appreciate all the advice on getting this thing repainted and prepped and ready to paint. I still need some advice on getting this thing to quiet down. And Jamie, I'm getting my fly cars ready for you. We'll have a fun night if we can make it down. So, guys, we're gonna see. If you don't want to make up the walk, keep it in the slot. That's John. So there's so much truth in that. When Dusty and I are here You learn where to push the car and where not to push the car, where it makes it easy to marshal. So you really do, like, I don't know if it's a subconscious thing or not, but we have two turns on this track that we usually come out of the slot. If we're going to come out of the slot at all, it's in one of these two turns, and they're pretty easy to marshal from the driver's stations. Sorry, had to sneeze and lost it. And so you start to think about that as you're pushing the car, trying to improve times or trying to catch up with somebody, or just put in laps, right? So, yeah, you're right. Just stay in the slot. You don't have to worry about marshaling. Greg, the king only needs 5 to 6 marshals only. What? How many marshals do we have at Butch's? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5. So when you think about that, it's about the same. If I was going to cover this track the right way, I would have 1, 2, 3. I would have 3 on this small track, maybe 4. But you get 6 people in this room, and this room gets busy. So that's the problem with hosting a race night here, is there's not a lot of room to host it. Question. We got out at 9:30 Thursday night. Yeah, and that was just the first class. That was not including the digital race, right, Daryl? Fun night. Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate it, man. Good night. Greg, that's awesome. Let me know for sure when you know for sure. But we are planning to go Thursday as well. I've got to rearrange. Thursday nights are tough for me, but it's worth rearranging the schedule to make it happen if I can. So that's the plan. Gary, thanks, man. Good night. Good night, Gina. Thanks for joining. Let's see. Daryl has a couple. Daryl does have a couple, but they're not white cars. He doesn't like the white cars. The newer Carrera 132 digitals are way better than the older ones. The older digital 132 kind of sucks. I'm really happy with the newer Carrera cars that I have. Yeah, Greg, Daryl has some cars that you can borrow if you don't get your Revo slot done, and you'll probably win with them. Everybody does. Everybody that uses a Daryl car ends up, finishing up on the podium, It's just crazy. Dusty, Daryl has more than a couple. He has probably 10 Revo slots tuned and ready to roll. He keeps feeding Tate. Tate's not in here, but he keeps giving Tate like the fastest car he owns. So he'll do the same for Greg. We'll just push us further down to the bottom of the list. It's all. Another good chat. Yeah, thanks, RW53. Thanks for jumping in there and letting us know. I appreciate that. Let's see. With digital, 2 10-minute heats. Thanks, Harry. Good night, man. You're up late, bro. Jamie B, can you do a track design for me? Email me at slotcarnews@yahoo if you can. Dave, what type of track design? For your scale auto? He usually designs Carrera tracks, or do you want to do a Carrera track? That sounds like a great deal. Well done, Dave. What type of track are you looking for, Dave? Because what he usually is designing Carrera track. It'd be fun to design your scale auto. What size table are you looking at? John Albright, coffee. That's right. Guys, don't forget about our channel sponsor, Rost Coffee. 5 Rost coffees. Use 2 lines to get a discount at roastcoffee.com. Right now they have bags for $10 for the holiday. I stocked up. I bought 3 bags. We've gone through 2-3 bags of beans just this week. We have my kids home. So, but yes. Yep. Roast coffee. Yeah. Thanks, Scott. Hey, Chris, home from work. Welcome. You've had a busy week in retail, bro. Get some rest. Good. Carrera. Excellent. Great, Dave. Yep, Jamie. Jamie can send you. I'll send you the designs that Jamie sent me back when I was looking at designing this. And I can send you my designs that I ended up with if you'd like as well. The last design we had, my table's 8 by 24, but the last design I had was really, really good. I was super happy with it. But yeah, that's awesome. Good work, guys. Yep. Jason, you got a track piece coming. I think it says maybe you'll get it Wednesday or Thursday. I have to look at the tracking. I'll send you the tracking number. Do you ride a bike? Asking for a friend. What's the link again? It's roastcoffee.com, Moondoggy, and 2 lines, all one word, TWOLINES. So there you go, roastcoffee.com, 2 lines. If you use 2 lines, you'll get 25% off of your first purchase. But right now, $10 a bag is actually cheaper than that. 25% off, I think. And that's good for anybody. So I would check the website. I need a specific track. Gotcha. Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. Happy I can help. So many people have helped me out. Happy I can help. All right, guys. Sorry it wasn't a great live stream tonight. We talked about a lot of nothing, but we did have some slot car fun. I'm going to wrap things up so you guys can get some of your evening back, since it's almost went 2 hours, which is 30 minutes longer than I ever want to go. But again, Merry Christmas. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you have a great week, and go have some fun racing.